Hello, I'm Chris. This is Gross Models. Welcome to day 12 of this year's Advent Calendar book. Without further ado, we'll get down to the bench and read the story, and then we'll carry on and see exactly what's going to be happening with the puzzle today. So, we have chapter 12, Enter Baby Yaga's hut. Baba Yaga, not baby, Baba. Leon watched smiling as all the faces lit up with happiness around him, adults and children alike, absorbed in the wonder of the moment. In the living room, gifts were being opened amidst general joy. Leon couldn't help feeling a little bit left out, but the scene charmed him. He could sense in this moment of harmony, of sharing, of pure love, something he hadn't experienced for a long time. Suddenly, he felt that familiar warmth, the one that already enveloped him several times, at the moment when everything froze, when the air became thicker around him, like a soft, light veil that slowly sucked him in. Before he could react, he felt himself being sucked in again, as if an invisible force were pulling him in a whirlwind. The ground disappeared beneath his feet. The festive scene melted into a light that was neither blinding nor even dazzling. The world around him evaporated, like a mirage blown on by the wind. He could only take one last look at this joyful family before vanishing into a flow of warmth that carried him away. He found himself back in the wagon, in that strange room with 4 tables, his heart still beating a little from the emotion of the previous moment. The same silence enveloped this place, but something had changed. The candlestick, which he had seen extinguished when he left, was now lit. 3 red candles glowed on the left, 1 black in the centre, and 3 green ones on the right, diffusing a flickering light that gave the room an air both solemn and mystical. Leon, lost in thought, observed the candlestick with a strange fascination. The atmosphere was denser, heavier, and this glow danced on the object spread out before him like an invitation to explore this strange place even further. He turned his gaze towards the 3rd table. 2 broken horns, worn by time, rested there. Driven by an irresistible force, Leon reached out and touched the horns. As soon as his fingers touched them, the soft glow, accompanied by a soothing warmth, rose around him again and carried him away with gentle slowness, like the surf of the sea caressing the sand, pulling him out of the present reality. The world faded, and he felt himself slipping once again into another place, another time. Leon stood there, his eyes wide, unable to tear his gaze away from the faces of the villagers around him. Moving shadows, like the silhouettes of formless creatures pressed against him, men and women, masked and disguised, danced frantically around flaming hearths. The flames rippled with devouring energy, casting long, distorted shadows on the walls of the wooden houses. The hoarse chants, sung in unison, transformed into wild death rattles, like a call from beyond the grave. The bells hanging from their belts jingled with every step, an icy sound that struck the air, menacing, unreal. Leon, caught in this whirlwind of terror, didn't understand, gradually felt himself overcome by panic. What was he seeing? What he was seeing was unreal, a madness he had never encountered. Why this frenzy? Why these strange gestures? These forced laughs that seemed more cries than bursts of joy. He no longer knew where he was or what he was doing here. It was a strange world, a world that didn't concern him, that rejected him. Fear seized him, icy, dull, and he turned on his heel, rushing at full speed towards the forest. His legs were heavy, his lungs filled with icy air, but he felt no pain. Only the need to escape what was pursuing him mattered. These creatures that seemed to emerge from the night to swallow him up. He ran without looking back, slipping between the trees, tripping over roots hidden in the thick snow. A cold bit at his skin, but he didn't have time to think about it. Every step he took him further from the nightmare he had just left. He ran, drunk with terror, blinded by the snow falling in twirls, numbing the world around him. After what seemed like an eternity, he stopped, panting, straining his ears. He thought he heard a strange, heavy noise like the pounding of a giant's footsteps. This noise, distant at first, intensified, drew closer, and became more threatening. He turned around, his insides knotted with fear. In the darkness of the forest, he saw a faint flickering glow, like a candle trembling in the wind. This light, far from being threatening, seemed soft, almost warm, and Leon, without thinking, rushed towards it. A breath of relief, a mad hope seized him. Perhaps he would finally find shelter there, refuge. As he approached the glow, he made out a small wooden house, like those old cabins abandoned by time and men. It stood there in the heart of the forest, like a forgotten thing. The grey wooden walls seemed to ooze solitude, and yet a persistent warmth emanated from within, a warmth that contrasted with the icy cold of the night. Leon approached cautiously and knocked on the door. Nothing. Not a sound, not a response. He knocked again, louder, insistently, his heart beating in his chest like a war drum. The silence that followed only reinforced the anguish gripping him. He knocked again and again, but nothing. Yet something, a premonition, told him that someone was there inside, an invisible presence which he could not explain, but which called to him, urged him on. It was like a distant murmur, a whisper that reached him from the night. Without really knowing why, he placed his hands on the handle and turned it slowly. The door to this strange hut is unfortunately locked. It seems its labyrinth and its symbols are the key. The correct sequence of symbols should unlock the door. It's important not to retrace your steps to ensure the correct path. What is the correct sequence of symbols? Right, let's have a look and see what we've got here. We've got a maze, and we've got an up and a down. This is where we start, by the looks of it. We start there, and we've got to see 3, 4, 5 symbols before we get to the exit. Where's the exit? Assuming it is an exit. Okay, we've got symbols in the middle. Oh, there's an exit. Oh, there's a start and there's an exit. The exit is at the top there. Okay, these are walls. It's not the whole walls, though. Oh, this is backwards. This is reversed. The R and A are backwards over there. So this must be flipped from that. Right, let's bring up the website, see exactly what the answer is that we're looking for, and we'll see if we can find out how to get it. Okay, so we've got click on the symbol and then its position. So, okay, I'll figure out how to do that. So let's have another look at the tracks, the puzzle itself, and figure out what we've got to get to where. Right, I don't think these symbols around the outside will mean anything. And does it matter that it's reversed? If it's just a case of going through the maze and finding a thing, then it shouldn't. Should it? Right, I mean, to begin with, we've only got one route we can take to there. We can get to the wheel. Or probably the star. If I'd go the other way, that will get me to start, I think. Depending on if these are, I don't know. That's got to be over this side. So what's that? It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 in, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So 2, 3, 4 in, 1, 2, 4 up would put a line across there. Let's have a look. If I'm thinking right, then that would put a line there. I've given up trying to protect this book because it's not that good. I'm not going to want to do it again. So if that's there, that would put a line there. So it means I can't go out that way. So it would mean I'd have to go that way. So the wheel would have to be number 1. So let's pop that wheel in number 1. I'm going to have to transfer all of these across to that. Yeah, I think that's the only way of doing it, but that's going to be such a pain. That's just such a time-consuming way of doing it that it's just not fun for me. So I'm going to ignore that for now and just guess and hope I don't come across any blocked paths. That would be my next symbol, which is that star one there. So I get that, and then I'm going to go sort of this way. Let's get me back up there, and then I can't go there. I can go that way. I'm going to get that thing. There's only 2 more. So it's 2 of those ones, I should think. What's going to be? That's going to be the last one, the bullseye thing. And I'm going to guess that this is going to be the next one in line, the moon symbol one. So we'll figure it out. I'm not too concerned if it's not right because, you know, let's validate. It's incorrect. Who could have possibly guessed? Let's have a look. The symbols under the labyrinth indicate the start point, the 5 symbols of the past, and the solution. Who could have possibly assumed that was the case? Missing obstacles on the door labyrinth. Seem to be on the ground still, but something is wrong. I knew it was reversed. They're mirrored, must be inverted. But yeah, I'm not going to spend all of the time doing that. I got the first one right. And the third one. But that was it. Right. So let's do. We'll twirly the one I had second and that one. Let's close that down. Twirly one is second. That one's last. And that one is then. See if it accepts that as being correct. It does. We got it right. We cheated, but yeah, that's not a puzzle that I would have enjoyed doing. So, yeah. The door opens with difficulty. What will Leon find inside? We've got code 6. We've got another word, materials. So that'll do for today. Join me tomorrow when hopefully, again, the puzzle might be more fun. We'll figure it out. But for now, thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you for more tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.